All right.
All right, bring us in.
Here we go. Welcome to Navigating Your Retirement. I'm your co host, Tony Shore, and I'm here with Travis Chance, our host extraordinaire. Travis, another holiday weekend is upon us. The 4th of July, Independence Day. Reminds me of that movie, Independence Day. Do you remember that movie? And do you remember Randy Quaid was in that movie?
I do remember that. I think Patriot, you think Independence Day. I think we have our wires crossed this morning.
Well, I mean, it's Independence Day, and there was a movie called
Oh,
Independence
yeah,
Day.
sure.
I
Yeah.
just love Randy Quaid's character in that when he
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of saves the day at the end.
I like Bill Pullman. The
Yes,
speech whenever they were about to go out
yes.
and target the aliens. That was
As
pretty good
president,
stuff.
Bill Pullman, I would vote for him for president. I think his speech was great, and Jeff Goldblum, of
I
course,
mean,
is
we
one of
got
my
The
favorites.
Apprentice. Why not have Bill Pullman?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Well, yeah, and I love Jeff Goldblum, but you're right.
Uh,
Patriotism is here, and it's good. We should celebrate it all year round. But I love 4th of July. Let me tell you why, Travis. 4th of July is the one holiday or the one time a year where I can eat both a brat and a burger, same sitting. No questions asked. Nobody's
no,
going to
yeah,
blink an eye.
nobody's gonna look at you crossways.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you're having a brat and a burger? No one's even gonna think that.
it's Independence Day.
It's
Why
in
not?
it's the 4th of July. Yeah.
Uh,
How about you? Or you got big 4th of July plans? We're recording
We
this just
actually
before.
we actually we're having to change our plans. I'm
Oh,
a little bit bummed.
oh,
And actually you're going to be like, "What?" So for 4th of July this year, we haven't been to Disney in probably 5 years, 6 years on the 4th of July. So we didn't really have any plans. And I was like, you know what? Shannon and I've been gone. We'll take the kids and hang out and, go to Disney for the 4th, which by the way, I know you're like, you're an idiot. But if you've never been to a 4th of July at Magic Kingdom or Disney Park and had witnessed the fireworks and the show that they put on, it is pretty remarkable.
I bet it
Like
is. I haven't been.
it's worth the price of admission. So that we were going to do that, and but it is supposed to rain like 6 inches over the next like that 4 day period we were going to be there. So we've kind of
Oh.
shifted gears. So we're gonna be probably celebrating from the house. So I'm going to have a healthy dose of The Patriot with Mel Gibson. We're going to watch.
That's a good
I don't
one.
know if I'll let the kids watch that one, but we're going to watch the Patriot, and actually, I might even binge watch John Adams. Do you remember John
Oh,
Adams, the
yeah.
Paul Giamatti
Oh, yeah.
HBO series? That was
Amazing.
that was pretty good. I don't think that gets a lot of accolades like
No,
it
I
should
haven't
have.
heard about that in a while, but I did watch it, and that was really
It's
good.
almost 20 years old, but it is still a terrific
Oh,
show. Like
I'm glad you
he and
reminded me. I'd forgotten about it, but it's really good.
Laura
Yeah.
Linney playing Mrs. Adams. That was really good. Like,
Yes.
there's a couple things. Everyone has their opinion. Memorial Day. I always watch Band of Brothers. I'll usually start watching it that week just out of habit. And then John Adams, Patriot, usually 4th of July. That's going to be a staple. But you did bring up Independence Day, so I'm not going to say I might not see some aliens. I might watch that in your honor, Tony. Um,
Little
but
different. Yeah.
it's going to be a fun time. We're going to hang
It's
around the
good.
house,
Yeah.
let the kids swim, and
Sure.
probably watch some fireworks. May go get some fireworks, make some bad decisions. Who knows?
Careful. Come back with all your digits. That's all
Yeah, no, I'm not.
that's what
I'm
my
not.
dad
Well,
said.
all my clients, and if anybody knows me, I'm not going to do that. That's
Yeah.
they will be fired from a safe place and a safe distance. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
light and I run as fast as I can away.
oh yeah, oh yeah. And then I think about it, I can't remember everything, but that always makes me think about the Joe Dirt movie. Whenever he
Oh,
goes up to the little fireworks stand, and he's like, "You don't have any," and I'm like, all he just lists all the fireworks, and the guy's like, "Nope, we got sparklers and Roman candles." It's like, all righty then. Might just be a weekend of Roman candles and sparklers, Tony.
there you go.
Uh,
Well, speaking of Independence Day, the name of the show today, you said you wanted to talk about the Independence Plan. What does that mean, Travis?
so, and here again, everyone, I think, can visualize. When our founding fathers, they're the colonies, they're back in the 1700s, just getting started. They work and they work and they work, and they get to a point where they're ready for a change and they're ready for the next step. And they don't really know what that next step is, but they know that they want what they want: financial independence. They want freedom from tyranny. They want, no taxation without representation. And to me, I think that's a correlation to what retirees want, right? Because think about it: when you're in your infancy, or of your working career, your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, you're really just trying to make your way. You're clearing, maybe not literally, but you're clearing the land. You're accumulating your assets, and along the way you get to a point where you do start to get a little concerned, because you may feel like you're getting taxation without representation. I mean, let's face it, I think we all think the political field right now is a bit of an issue. Let's just
Yep.
call it that. Be PG this morning.
Yeah.
So we get to a point where we want financial freedom. You know, uh, we want that like Mel Gibson moment. We want that stake the flag in the ground moment. You know what? I'm done. I'm tired of working like you want me to work. I'm tired of getting up, having my feet hit the ground in the morning because I have to, not because I want to. And it's time for a change, and it's time for a declaration of financial independence. So that's what I want to talk about this morning is, what does that look like? And what I think, whenever I think financial freedom, and we talk about like defining what that means, what does it mean to be financially free? Wealth accumulation doesn't just extend itself to money. It
Right.
extends itself to the freedom of choice, time, and peace of mind. Because the freedom that your accumulation and your retirement nest egg provides you is choice. You now can work, or if you continue to work, if you have gotten to the point where that you are financially free. We'll get into that in just a moment on how you know that. But if you know that you're financially free, you're now working because you want to, not because you have to. That means it goes from being a requirement to a choice. Your feet hit the floor a whole lot different in the morning whenever you're working because you want to versus because you have to. Working because you have to, you dread those mornings. You get up, you get to the coffee maker, you're scratching your eyes and going, "Oh my goodness, like this is another day." And then all of a sudden, when it's now you're working because you want to, it's like you get that bounce in your step. You get that energy back, because it is truly now your decision. And if that's your decision, it makes it a whole lot easier. Also, whenever you get to that retirement financial freedom moment, time is something that you can now get back. Because a lot of times when we work, and I'm guilty of it just like everyone else is, Tony, I'm sure you are too, we get so caught up in our working lives and our working careers that we go, "You know what, if I had time, I would love to do this."
Right.
Do you ever get to that point? Because I know I do. Do you
Oh,
ever get
yeah.
to that point where you're like, "You know what? I'd love to go see this concert. I'd love
Yep.
to go do this vacation, this excursion,
Yep.
but I just don't have the time," because we
Right.
overcommit ourselves, right?
Right.
We want to do all the things. We
I do
want to
that every day, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm
So
like, why am I not in Iceland right now? I want to take a trip to Iceland. Why am I
I
here doing
Tony, I
podcasts?
too want to go to Iceland. So yeah, we share that in common. That's on the bucket list.
That's on my bucket list
But we
too.
can't go to Iceland because we don't have the time.
Nope, we're too
Because
busy.
you and I have a commitment because
Yep.
every Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. we have a schedule. We have a scheduled meeting.
Yep.
And just like the other advisors you work with, and just like, all the things that go into our calendar, this is a commitment and you're making a commitment. So the time that you spend, you're actually able to build that currency, build that wealth accumulation. And now when you get to that freedom point for retirees, you can start winding that down. You can start being more selective on the things that go on your calendar, because time is now something you can get back. That's what that wealth accumulation, that retirement nest egg does. And also, it comes with a certain amount of peace of mind, right? When you declare your financial freedom, you're also, in some cases, declaring no more. And
Right.
there's peace of mind knowing that you can actually make those decisions and you don't have to worry about the consequences. Because the consequences for most of us are, if I don't do this, subconsciously we feel like, we've been working and that's just a part of our overall makeup, and that's just something we have to do because we've just conditioned ourselves. But B, we don't want to let our family and our loved ones down, because we are the ones providing that financial stability, and that takes a lot of effort, right? But peace of mind comes from knowing I've fought the good fight. I've done the things. I'm there, right?
Yeah.
It's not just I'm running the marathon. Eventually you cross the finish line.
Right.
And that's what I think people want, is they want independence. They want the ability to do the things. They want the ability to choose the things and to have the peace of mind that comes with it. But to be perfectly honest, that level of effort needs to be rewarded, but it also needs to have a plan. You have to have a framework, which, we declared our independence, which is essentially what I'm talking about doing. But the framework of how our republic operates came a little bit later in the form of the Constitution. So we know what we want. We know we want to declare our independence, but we do eventually have to have that framework, because there is no script, right? Retirement doesn't come with a set of instructions, because there is no set of instructions, because everything is basically, it's unique to every situation, Tony.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because
Yep.
what Tony's retirement's going to look like is probably going to be far different from mine. You're going to be eating brats and hamburgers on a daily basis. I may not be. I mean, it could, that's your just like I say, every day Saturday, every day could be Independence Day for Tony.
Yeah. Every
You know,
day could be pizza day.
every
Who
day could be
knows?
pizza. And you know what? You have that right to choose. So I think that's where I feel like there is a close kinship to your retirement independence and declaring your financial freedom to our Independence Day. Is we want to celebrate the fact that we have gotten to the point where we can be self-sufficient. And but it does come with struggles. I mean, here's some of the struggles. It's not just like we had back in the 1700s, but talk about today for retirees. The retirement struggle, sometimes it's not about money, it's about meaning.
Hmm.
Right? Because once you declare financial freedom, it's like, okay, I'm putting down these chains, so to speak, and I'm taking off the things that bind us. But then you're like, oh, wait a minute, what am I going to do now? Right? Because your work has been your personality. It has been your meaning, has been your purpose. That's what you've been doing for 30, 40 years. We condition ourselves, and it's hard to break that. That is a mental obstacle that we all have to climb. But it's something that freedom and declaring that independence, we have the freedom to do it. We now have the ability to say, okay, we're now a new country. What do we want our country to look like?
Right.
We don't want it to be like our neighbors to the north, which, by the way, I have to say this. I didn't mention this on the last show. I thought it was hilarious. There were, when you're walking down the streets in Quebec City, there were actually a lot of shops that had these hats and these shirts in the windows that they looked like MAGA shirts. But when you got close, it said, Canada is not for sale. or,
Oh, no.
or it said something like, not the 51st state. So they don't
Oh,
want to be like us, right? They don't
no.
want to be like us. We don't want to be like them. You know
Right.
what? That's okay. I get
Yeah.
that. And I'm good with that, right? We
Yeah.
can
I
still
could
be
not eat
friends.
poutine every day. Let's just put it
Yeah,
that way. Or French
I'm good on the
cuisine.
cheese curds and the gravy. We won't digress into that conversation, but yeah, that was certainly not the gravy I was thinking about. When I thought about
No.
my grandma's gravy, I felt like she'd have
Oh.
probably rolled over if she'd have tasted that. That was a little bit much. But it's that transition, that going into the freedom, it brings responsibility. And the question is, what do you do now? Well, the old's got to give way to the new. And I think that's just like whenever our founders built our framework, right, to support the growing of our economy, the growing of our infrastructure, the growing and creating of the jobs, and the things that we have accomplished. Well, that's no different than your retirement, right?
Mhm.
But to do all of those things, that's the reason why we focus and emphasize having a plan. Is it doesn't always mean that that we're gonna see everything work as we wanted to, right?
Right.
If you would have asked me 5 years ago, did I think the bond market would essentially be in a bear market for 5 years? I would have said, I don't think that's going to be the case. And yet here we are. If you would have told me 5 years ago that this time 5 years ago, we would have literally seen the pandemic and all of the things that we have seen thus far, I would have been like, you know what? That's, you're probably thinking some sci-fi stuff there. That's not going to happen. But here we are. And having a plan doesn't mean that, just like in the founding fathers days, that things went as planned. But what it does mean is you have a framework that you operate under so that you can overcome those things, because you think through, kind of like our legal system, right? There's checks and balances for our House and Senate and president, and there's three branches of government for a reason, because we all need to be kept in check. And that's the same thing with your plan. Is you want that ability to make sure that you have the framework there to succeed. You have that ability to adapt, right? And it's got to be done on a regular basis. Independence and freedom isn't free. Reagan said we're only
No.
one generation away from from giving away our freedoms. That's just like your retirement plan. That has to evolve as you evolve, because we start out with an idea and then we get 5 years in. And I actually have clients that I'm still counseling to this day that retired 5-6 years ago. And Tony, they have still not taken some of those bucket list trips. They've still not done
Hmm.
some of those experiences. And my question to everyone listening and to them is why not? Right. And a lot of times the answer I get is, well, we've got to get just a little bit more. We've got to do just a little bit more. And here's the thing. There will never be a time when it's enough, right? We always want more, but there will never be a time. The purpose of being financially independent is knowing that it may be something you're like, you know what, can I do it, can I not do it? That's what planning does. Is just like what I was describing before about how I went to New Zealand. I planned for 2 years,
Yep.
saved, and literally Google paid for a lot of my trip. It's because, did I know that I needed X amount of dollars? I did. Did I have a plan to get there? I did. Was it straight up the whole time? No. And that's just like everyone else in
Yeah.
money and finance and our
Peaks
markets.
and valleys to
Yeah,
the
peaks and
plan,
valleys. And
adjustments.
we have to have that focus and that plan to know, if I do this, this is what we're striving for, what we're
Yeah.
shooting for. And that's what I think financial independence is, Tony, is giving you the peace of mind, giving you the choice, giving you the time back so that you can enjoy what I think should be the most exciting part of someone's life, because now all of those things that you thought that you wanted to do, now's the time.
Yeah.
Right. There is no promise. We're not promised tomorrow. We are not promised that this is going to be an experiment that will work forever in our country. Our republic's 250 years old, and I swear to God, I think they're trying to see if they can kill it on a daily basis sometimes.
I know.
But let's face it, it's
Yeah.
here. We have it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for our clients is you've declared your financial independence, or you're about to declare your financial independence. The question is, do you have the framework? Do you have the plan that's going to get you to where you want to go? For a lot of people, the answer is no. For
Yeah.
our clients, Tony, the answer is a resounding yes. But what I want is I want our clients to spread the word, to get more of their people from a no to a yes. And if you're listening to our show and you have not been to one of our classes, we have several coming up in the fall. I would encourage you to sit through one of those, actually listen to information that you probably have never heard or never heard presented in that format, so that that can help you start moving yourself from a no to a yes, from I don't have any focus, I don't have the framework, I don't have the plan in place, to oh my goodness, if I had known this, I would have been able to retire 2 or 3 years ago. And the question that a lot of people ask whenever they come in my office is, can I retire? Well, you don't know until you know. And until you have a plan, you really have no way of knowing. That's why you need to give us a call at 877-269-0839, 877-269-0839, and let us help you declare financial independence.
All right. Great show today, Travis. Listeners, pick up the phone, give Travis a call, attend one of the educational events there, one of his classes. I think that's fantastic. And again, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Navigating Your Retirement with our host, Travis Chance.